going on, everybody? C4, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to talk a little bit about a trade rumor. Philadelphia Eagles and the Cleveland Browns are practicing with each other this week ahead of their preseason game, and Jeff McClain on Twitter posted this. Looks like Browns running back Kareem Hunt, seen here talking to Nick Sirianni, isn't practicing today. Some have mentioned Hunt as a possible trade target for the Eagles. He wants a new contract. So Twitter's kind of running wild about how, if, why, when should Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles trade for Kareem Hunt. And I'm here today. I'm going to kind of break it down a little bit, give you some of my opinions. Would love to hear what you guys think. Would you trade for Kareem Hunt? What would you trade for Kareem Hunt? Should we trade for Kareem Hunt, or should we just keep rocking with our committee, with Miles Sanders? Let me know in the comment section below. But kind of breaking it down a little bit, this is like one of those things when I just thought about it quickly. I'm like, all right, Kareem Hunt, he's more proven, a little bit more well-rounded back than Miles Sanders. Maybe even a slightly better fit for our offense than Miles Sanders. It just feels like there's something off with Miles Sanders and Sirianni and this staff. It almost feels like there's a lack of trust there a little bit. I don't think they're ever going to fully let him try to take control of our backfield. It'll always be a committee approach, but you can have a feature back in a committee approach, guy that gets the most, and it always just feels like they might not give it to Sanders. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't, and it almost feels like every time they've kind of let Miles Sanders, like, we're going to give Miles Sanders 20 touches today. That's in the game plan. He'll have like a bad fumble in the first quarter, and that completely dumps that on its head. So at face value, when I just initially quickly thought about this, I was like, yeah, you know what? Kareem Hunt could be pretty dope. When you break it down, if you make this trade for Kareem Hunt, you are very much going to be hoping that he can become, in return, to 2017, 2018 Kareem Hunt, where he was Offensive Rookie of the Year runner-up, made the Pro Bowl as a rookie, 1,300 yards rushing, 1,700 yards from scrimmage, 11 touchdowns. Then in 2018, a year that's kind of comparable to what we've seen with Miles Sanders, at 800 yards rushing, but finished with 1,200 yards from scrimmage and 14 touchdowns. Then he had the off-the-field issues, and I mean, if that is your hiccup, if you're like, I don't want this guy in the locker room, he did that, I'm not going to argue on the matter. But as far as like Philly, he's been back in the league for 3 years. If you're worried he's like, he did a terrible thing off the field and maybe he'll be a repeat offender, I think he's shown enough that like that was a mistake, an issue, and it's not something that you have to be overly concerned that can happen again. So then he went to Cleveland, and then you look at that 2020 year in Cleveland, 1,100 yards from scrimmage, 11 touchdowns. Just popped the webcam off here. And last year he had 500 yards, 5 touchdowns in 8 games, only started 1. So, I mean, there's no disputing the fact that Kareem Hunt is the second best running back in the NFL. He's the best backup running back in the NFL. The 1-2 punch between Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb is the best in the NFL. And there's plenty of teams that Kareem Hunt would instantly walk in and be the running back one. And I don't think there's a whole lot to argue that Philly isn't one of those teams. I think if you give me Miles Sanders fully healthy, you give me Kareem Hunt fully healthy, and said you got to rank these guys, set the depth chart, I'm probably going Kareem Hunt more often than not at that RB1 spot. So from this, you go into like, well, what does this mean for Miles Sanders? If you're going to consider doing this, like, what does that speak to Miles Sanders? He did his last year here in Philadelphia. It does just kind of feel like the team's not in a rush to get an extension. They're probably going to let him play this year out. Maybe if he balls out this year, they will consider re-signing him to a contract. But looking at the stats for Miles Sanders, there's some good and some bad. He's been here for 3 years. He's yet to go over 1,000 yards behind one of the best offensive lines in football. But, especially that year one, he looked like he was a do-it-all running back. 50 catches, 500 yards, finished with 1,300 yards from scrimmage and 6 touchdowns, 4th in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting. Had 1,000 yards in 2020, just under 1,000 last year, and he's never been a feature back. But I think a problem here, especially 0 touchdowns last year, is why hasn't he become the feature back? I think without these stats, seeing him play, even though he had 76% catch ratio, he has absolutely regressed as a receiving back the last 2 years. I think that's why Philly drafted Kenny Gainwell, as Gainwell is a terrific receiving back. And there's there got to be things maybe we don't know, we're not privy to, as to why they haven't really let Miles Sanders become the lead back. I mean, it's obviously a philosophy to a degree that we have a committee. And we have this, we build through the trenches. We build the offensive line, we invest in the offensive line, we invest high draft picks, we invest a lot of salary cap towards having a dominant offensive line. And if you do that, more often than not, you go cheap at the running back position, which isn't a bad idea anyways. It's, I don't want to say there's a ratio to it. As a former running back myself, it pains me to say, but it's like, you line up 10 big running back extensions probably like 4 or 5 of them are going to actually, hold their value. And the other ones, teams are, injuries and, running back is not a safe contract to pay a lot of money for. Look at Christian McCaffrey right now in the Panthers. When he's on the field, utterly dominant, but because he's a running back, high injury position, he's not on the field, and that's just so much salary cap into that spot. And it's just not the identity of the Eagles. Even going back to the Super Bowl team, we do not pay for running backs. If we're going to go to running back, it's going to be because they're on a rookie contract and they can kind of fit on the team. So it feels like they're not really in a rush to sign Miles Sanders, and I have no personal problem. I like Miles Sanders, and if the approach for Philly here in 2022 is let him see if he can ball out, if he does, reward him with a contract extension. If he doesn't, just let him at free agency, and let's go back to the draft. Maybe invest an earlier round pick, 3rd round, 2nd round, 4th round, in a running back, have them come in and complement Kenny Gainwell. Maybe get a power back, Gainwell could be your receiving back, and you get Boston Scott on a cheap deal. But the question is, all right, if all that about Miles Sanders, why isn't he our starter? There's questions there, and we're leading towards they're not going to pay him. And if you take that just beyond the fact that they're not sold on Miles Sanders, and just the idea that Philly doesn't pay running backs, we pay offensive linemen, well, you're not trading for Kareem Hunt wants to get paid more money. The only reason why you're getting Kareem Hunt here is because the Browns aren't going to pay him. And then, how much is he going to cost? He's already, right now, here are all the running back contracts in the NFL. The 15th highest paid running back right now is Kareem Hunt at $6 million a year, average. So you're going to assume if he wants a raise, it's probably going to fall between Saquon Barkley and Joe Mixon. I don't know what it's going to be, but we'll say he wants to get paid probably between $8 and $10 million. So, that's expensive. That's expensive for a team that does not like to invest heavily at the running back spot. So if you're not going to pay Miles Sanders, why would you want to pay Kareem Hunt that amount of money? You look at the talent, slightly better. Is he that much better? Is it going to be that much better than going with a rookie running back for dirt cheap money? And then you look at also the fact that look at the ages. Kareem Hunt's 27. 28 is the downturn. So you're going to be giving him more money at the spot that's the most risky to re-signing a running back. Look at running backs over 28. You got Aaron Jones. Now, this is actually, Aaron Jones and Derrick Henry had him. Derrick Henry's coming off the injury, but it's still Derrick Henry. But Aaron Jones is an interesting one because they got $12 million there average per year in Aaron Jones. Do you think most Packer fans right now, even if Aaron Jones is good, would rather that $12 million going to somewhere else on the offense, maybe wide receiver, and then rocking and rolling with the rookie running back that they drafted in A.J. Dillon? That's probably the better approach for the Green Bay Packers. No disrespect to fan of the channel, Aaron Jones. So, if you're Philadelphia and you're paying Kareem Hunt $9 million, with how we build our team, how we build through the trenches, that $9 million probably going to be better spent somewhere else. And then we draft our running back. As it comes down, I think the age of Kareem Hunt, the contract extension, the identity that Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles operate, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm feeling that there's going to be a lot of comments that people are in favor of Philly making this trade, bringing Kareem Hunt in. But I think the more you break it down, I think we're probably our best bet. Let Miles Sanders, let the running back by committee approach kind of do its thing this year. Most likely, unless Miles Sanders has a ridiculous year, you're going to let him walk and just keep investing on the offensive line and drafting running backs, keeping running backs on rookie deals. That's my personal approach, but would love to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. As always, if it is your first time stopping by and you like all things Eagles, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'd love to hit 1,000 subscribers before the Eagles season starts, because once you get that 1,000 subscribers, opens up things, maybe some live streams, maybe do some game streams, could be fun. So thank you guys for that. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this trade, and I'll see you guys back in the next one. Thanks for watching, and peace out. Go Birds!